Hello friends and welcome back. So in this session we are going to cover the interview questions and answers related with the node manager. The very first thing, what is a node manager in WebLogic and what is a machine? Okay, so what is a node manager? If you search on the internet, okay, what is the node manager, then you will see a definition that node manager is a utility, okay, that is used to control the server life cycle remotely. Okay, so it is a independent utility. Okay, and why it is called independent? Because it is a separate Java based utility that is bundled with the WebLogic server. Okay, that means there is no impact on your applications if node manager goes down. Okay, because the WebLogic server applications resources are completely different. Node manager is a separate Java based utility that is bundled with the WebLogic server for some enhanced functionalities. Now what are the enhanced functionalities? I will explain to you. Okay, so what is the node manager is? So there are multiple purpose or benefits of that. Means, so the node manager is a utility, okay, that is used to control the server life cycle in the domain. Okay, so that means node manager is, you can say it as an independent Java based utility, okay, which is bundled with WebLogic to control or to manage the server life cycle. Now, why it is independent, I have explained to you, because there is no impact if node manager goes down. There is no impact on your applications and resources that you have configured in a domain. Okay, and it is completely based on Java, because this is just like the WebLogic server, which is a Java based application server. So node manager is also a Java based utility that is bundled with the WebLogic. That is, it means automatically installed when you install the WebLogic server. Okay, and it is used for to manage the server life cycle. So server life cycle means completely based on start and stop. When you are starting the servers, when you are stopping the servers, so to control this life cycle we use a node manager. And what is a machine? So machine you can define as it is a logical representation of the physical server or virtual machine which hosts the WebLogic server. Okay, so what is the definition of machine? It is a logical representation of the server or the VM wherever your WebLogic is running, okay, to host the WebLogic server. So that means whenever we configure the domain, okay, so in that domain we configure the node manager for the management of life cycle of the managed server. For example, you are going to start the managed servers, you are going to stop the managed servers. So for that we configure the node manager. Okay, and for this node manager we have to create a corresponding machine. So machine is a logical representation of the virtual machine or a server that holds the WebLogic server. So what does it mean? If we have only a single machine, okay, and here you have installed and configured the WebLogic server along with the multiple managed servers, or you may have the multiple servers in the cluster, right? So these are the separate machines, virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3, virtual machine 4. So if you have only one virtual machine, so you need to create only one machine from the console. So when we configure the domain, okay, so it is specifically asked to configure a node manager, and along with that it asks to configure a machine. So machine is configured for the node manager, and this node manager is always associated with the corresponding machine. So that means if suppose that you have only one virtual machine, okay, so you will create a one machine, so that maybe you have given the name like the machine underscore one, and inside this machine you will configure a node manager. Okay, similarly if you have four virtual machines, so when you are creating the domain, so you have to create the four machines from the console when you are creating the domain, like machine 1, machine underscore 2, machine underscore 3, machine underscore 4, and each machine will have the corresponding node manager. The node manager of this particular machine, node manager of this machine, node manager of this machine, and node manager of this machine, right? So in a nutshell, if someone is asking you what is a node manager, so you can say node manager is an independent Java based utility Okay, that is bundled with the WebLogic server that we use to manage the server lifecycle. And management of server lifecycle means starting and stopping the servers. Second, what is machine? So machine is a logical representation of the server or physical server or the virtual machine that hosts the WebLogic server. And depend on your configuration. If you have a single server, then you will have a one machine. If you have a multiple servers in the clusters, then for each and every machine, or sorry, for each and every physical server or virtual machine, you will have a corresponding machine need to be configured. What are the key features of node manager? Okay, so the first key feature we have already discussed. It is used to control, or you can say remotely control, the server life cycle. That means it is used to start and stop the servers remotely. Remotely in the sense that means simply you are starting and stopping the server from a admin console. Okay, so now we have a two kind of architecture: vertical cluster and horizontal cluster. If it is a vertical cluster, then everything on the same machine. If it is a horizontal cluster, then we have a multiple machines in the cluster, right, where your managed servers are running. If it is a vertical cluster, so you have everything on the same machine. So we have a domain, we have a cluster, and we may have the managed servers 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So now if you want to stop your managed servers from the admin console in the domain, admin console. Okay. So we always need a node manager. Okay. So that means you log into admin console and you can give the command to start the servers, to stop the servers, and it will stop or start the servers in that particular domain. Similarly, if we have the multiple servers where we have the horizontal clustering and managed servers are there, 2, managed server 3, managed server 4, and our admin server is running on machine 1, 2, virtual machine 3, virtual machine 4. Our admin server is running here on the first virtual machine. So you access the admin console again. You can give the command to start and stop the servers. So it will start and stop on each and every machine, right? Which is part of your cluster. So simple, the very first key feature of the node manager, it is used to control the life cycle of your managed servers, or you can say to start stop your managed servers specifically from the admin console. So one thing is you have to ensure that whenever you are going to start stop your servers from the admin console, your node manager on each and every machine should be up and running. If node manager is not running, you would not able to start or stop the servers from the admin console. This is the very first feature. Okay, second feature, it has the auto restart feature. Auto restart feature. Now, what is auto restart? If suppose that any time your any of the managed server goes down or crash due to any reasons, okay, you want to bring up your server as soon as possible to minimize the application downtime, or to minimize the bad performance of your applications, right? So this node manager has a auto restart facility. So if any of the server crashed or got down due to any reasons, your node manager will automatically bring it up. Okay, there is no manual intervention is required. Your managed server will be restarted automatically. So this is the other feature. Third feature is auto health check. Auto health check. That means your node manager always check the health of each and every server which is in your cluster. Auto health check. Now, what is the benefit of that? If the node manager is doing the health check of your managed server, what are the benefit that you are getting? The benefit is that if suppose that any time if a server went into the failed state, okay, due to any reasons, if any of the server goes into the failed state, so at that time server will not process the request. But if you go to the operating system level, you may see the process at the OS level. If you do the ps-ef and then grep your server, okay, so you will see the process at the server level, but the server state will be failed and it will not be able to process any request. So in that case, your node manager can automatically kill this server. Okay, why kill? Because once your node manager will kill the server, the process will be gone, and when the process will be gone, your node manager will automatically restart it. Right? So the second benefit what we have learned, auto restart. If suppose that the server is crashed or down automatically due to any reasons, it will automatically restart. Second, if the server process is there but the state is failed, so your node manager will automatically kill this server and then it will automatically restart your server. So these are the benefit of using the node manager. How do you start and stop the node manager? Okay, so again, just like we have seen in how to start stop the admin servers and manage servers, so we have all scripts there inside the bin folder. You go to your domain folder, inside that you will have a folder called bin. Inside the bin we have all the scripts, right? With the extension .sh for Linux and .bat for Windows. So here you will have a script called start node manager.sh bat for Windows, and similarly stop node manager.sh. So these are the two scripts that we have inside the bin directory in your domain that we use to start and stop your node manager. What is the default port of the node manager? The default port of node manager is 5556. Okay, 5556. So that means when we configure the domain, okay, using the graphical user interface wizard, so during the configuration it asks for the node manager configurations as well. Okay, and we can specify the port of the node manager there. So 5556 will be the default. If you want to change it, you can change it as well when you configure the domain. What is the impact if the node manager goes down or if it is process is manually killed? So what is the impact? Again, same thing. If the node manager is down, what is the impact on your application? So as I said some time back, node manager is an independent utility, independent Java based utility, which bundled with the WebLogic server to manage the server lifecycle only. Okay, so it doesn't have any relation with the applications. So that means if you have deployed your application, we have configured multiple resources, your applications are up and running. If node manager crashed, okay, there is no impact on the applications. Okay, then what is the impact if the node manager goes down? Okay, so whatever the benefit that we have discussed, like the auto restart feature, right, and then to start and stop the servers from the console, so these features will not be available. Okay, if your node manager is down and if any of the managed server crashed, it will not automatically restart because your node manager is down. If you log into admin console and you try to start any server, try to stop any server, okay, you will get the error, the corresponding node manager is not reachable. So these are the benefit that we will not able to get if your node manager is down, but no impact on your applications. What is the main node manager properties file and where it is located? So we have one important node manager file where it define all the configurations related with the node manager. So there are few more files are there, but one is the main configuration file and which is called the node manager dot properties file. Node manager dot properties file. And what is the location of this file? If you go to the domain, inside the domain you will see a folder with the name of node manager. Okay, so inside this node manager you will have a file called node manager dot property. So this file, uh, which is inside the node manager folder of your domain, will have the multiple important parameters of your node manager. One of the parameters, for example, is port. So default port, as I said, 5556. So you have created your domain with the port 5556, and the later time you want to change the port of your node manager anytime. So you can change this port in your node manager properties file and then restart your node manager. Okay, and the port will get changed. So similar to this port, there are multiple configurations that we can define in the node manager properties file. How can the node manager port be changed? The same thing what I explained just some time back. You change it in node manager dot properties file, okay, and then restart your node manager and the port will get changed. What is the name and location of node manager log file? So if any time you have some problem in starting the node manager, or sometime when your node manager try to start or stop your servers, there are a lot of exceptions that is get generated in the node manager log files, and you have to look for that to understand that errors. So basically sometime during the troubleshooting you have to use for the node manager log files. So again, the location of node manager log file is same. You can go inside your domain and then node manager folder, same location where we have the node manager dot properties file. Okay, so here you will have a node manager dot log file. Okay, this log file you can look for in case of a troubleshooting. Can a managed server be started if the node manager is not running? Okay, so if node manager is not running, can you start your managed server? The answer is yes. Second answer is no, both. Now what are the conditions? Yes or no? So if you are going to start your server from the admin console, okay, and your node manager is down, then you will not able to start your admin managed server. Condition is yes if you are going to start using the script. Start managed weblogic.sh, which is inside your domain bin. So if you are going to start using the script, then you can able to start. Doesn't matter if your node manager is down or up. But if you are going to stop your server from the admin console, and if node manager is down, you will not able to start your server. So these are the two conditions. Okay, but one thing you have to keep in mind, if you are starting your servers from the admin console, or maybe you are starting from the manage scripts, okay, in any of the professional environment, live environments, okay, so you have to follow the same strategy. Maybe if you are following the admin console, then you always go with that one. If your environment is configured to start using a script, then always go with that, right? Because there are a lot of configurations that we defined, okay, which is applicable only for the specific process. For example, when we start the servers with the admin console, so in the admin console, we have option to define multiple JVM parameters that is get reflected only when you are starting from the admin console. So if some parameters are defined in admin console for your managed servers and you try to start using the managed script, then all the parameter will be lost, which you have defined in the admin console. So always follow the same strategy, and you have to check internally which process your organization is following. Either you are starting stopping the servers from the admin console, or you are following the scripts. How can you verify whether the node manager is running? So the very first option, you can go to the admin console, and then you have to go to the machine option. Inside the machine, click on your node manager. Okay, so here you will get a status tab, and you will see the status as a reachable or maybe not reachable. So if it is reachable, that means it is up and running. And if it is some exceptions are there, like the not reachable, that means node manager is not running. Second, you can simply run ps-ef at the OS level, and then you can grep -i and then node manager. So by this way, you can grab the process and see if the node manager process is there or not. Okay, but even the node manager is running, it doesn't mean that it will always show up in your admin console. If some configurations are different, for example, in your properties file, node manager dot properties file, the port of node manager is 5556, but in the console you have defined 5555. So even your node manager is up and running at the OS level, console will show it down, because console will your WebLogic will not able to reach to your node manager because it is running on port 5556, but on admin console you have defined 5555. So we have to ensure whatever the port that you have defined in the node manager dot properties file, same port should be defined in the admin console as well. Okay, this is one of the scenario. Is it possible to define a separate username and password for node manager? Yes. Okay. So when we configure the domain, okay, it asks for to provide a username and password for your node manager. The reason is that when we start or stop the servers from the admin console, which use a node manager, then for starting stopping the managed server, your node manager use own credentials, own separate credentials for connectivity with the managed servers, and then it restart the servers. Okay, so this password and then username and password is completely different than the admin user and password that we give to access the admin console. This is completely different. This is completely different, and this is specifically used by the node manager. So most probably, what we do when we configure the domain, we provide the same username and password whatever we give for the admin console. This is a best practice that we follow. But if you want to have a different username and password for node manager, yes, you can define that as well. How can you check or grab the node manager process on the OS level? Same thing as I said, ps-ef is a standard command to grab the process. Then grep -i and then node manager. Okay, by this way you can check the process at the OS level. How can the node manager process be terminated manually? So if you want to kill the manage server process, we can use the same command which we use to kill the server, like the admin server manage servers, kill -9 and PID of your node manager. And PID you can check with the same command, ps-ef, sorry, ps-ef, then grep -i and then node manager, and then you can note down the PID which you can specify here to kill the server node manager. What is per domain node manager? Okay, this is an important term. So in the older versions of the WebLogic, okay, like 11G and some initial beginning versions of the 12C as well, okay, we had the per host node manager. That means, for example, if I have 4 nodes in the cluster, okay, in the horizontal cluster, this is my virtual machine 1, this is virtual machine 2, this is virtual machine 3, this is virtual machine 4. Okay, so if I have 4 virtual machines, then each and every machine has only one node manager. One node manager. That is called host per host node manager. So irrespective of the number of domain. So it could be possible that I have two domain here, domain 1 and domain 2. This is my development domain. This is my testing domain in the machine. So same host, but two domain. So for each domain, or you can say for all domain in a particular machine, we had only one node manager. So this node manager was used to control all the servers of development domain and all the servers of testing domain. That was called a per host node manager. There were a lot of drawbacks for that, because if you want to do shutdown, if you want to shut down this node manager due to any reasons, okay, then this node manager will not be available for all the domains that you have on a single machine, because it was the host based node manager. Now in the latest versions of the WebLogic, we have per domain node manager. That means whatever the number of domain that you have in a particular machine, each domain will have own node manager. This is your machine. This is your WebLogic. You have created a domain for your development. You have created domain for your testing. You have created domain for quality environments. These are the three different domains, right? Domain 1, domain 2, domain 3. So now each domain will have own node manager. So if you have a 3 domains, then you will have 3 node manager in your machine, one for each and every domain. But only thing you have to take care when you are installing the configuring the node manager, the default port is 5556, right? And you cannot run the more than one process on the same port in an OS. So if you have a 3 domain, that means you have a 3 node manager. So you have to specify a different port. For example, to one node manager, you have specified 5556. To second node manager, you can give 5557, and to third node manager, you can give 5558, or whatever the different port you want. So this is the thing you have to take care when you have a multiple node manager on the same machine, and this is called the per domain node manager. How can the node manager be switched between plain and SSL mode? So now what is the plain and SSL mode? What is the meaning of that? Very simple. What we have learned about the node manager, it is used to control the server life cycle. That means this is your admin console. Okay, and here you have listed managed servers 1, 2, 3, 4. So suppose you give the command start. So the communication is like admin server communicate with the node manager, and with the help of node manager, it reach to the managed server. This is the very straightforward cycle. Node manager will contact, sorry, admin server will contact the node manager. Node manager will contact the managed server. So that means there is a communication going on between admin server and managed server, but sorry, between admin server and node manager, between node manager and your managed server, right? So this communication can be plain or it can be SSL based. Plain means the content, the communication data will not be encrypted. If you configure with the SSL, the communication will be completely encrypted. This is the same way we configure the SSL for the HTTP for our websites, right? If we configure with the HTTPS, so whatever the traffic that is getting transferred over the public network, it will be encrypted, right? Same way, if you enable the SSL mode for your node manager, so the communication between admin server and node manager, along with that between node manager and managed server, this will be completely encrypted. Okay, so by default, when we configure the domain and configure the node manager, the communication mode will be SSL. Anytime you want to change it to plain, then you can change it to plain as well. Okay, so this you can again do with the help of node manager dot properties file. Okay, and in node manager dot properties file, you have a parameter secure listener. Secure listener. So this secure listener by default true. It is configured with the demo certificate, demo identity and certificate. If you want to change it to the plain mode, so you can change this secure listener to false. Okay, and this will disable the mode. But in that case, make sure if you are changing this parameter to false, right? So you need to change this on the admin console as well. Go to your admin console, go to machine, node manager, and then you will see the type of node manager. So there by default is SSL. So if you change it to false in the node manager, so you need to change this SSL to plain in the admin console as well. So simple term, the values that you are changing in the node manager dot properties file, importantly SSL mode, communication mode, and the port, you need to change in the corresponding admin console as well. What are important node manager parameters such as auto restart, auto kill failed, restart max, and restart delay seconds? So what we have learned about the node manager, it is used to control the server lifecycle management. Simply, if the starting and stopping of the server, along with that, it has the feature of auto restart, right? If server is killed or crashed due to any reasons, it will automatically restart, right? This is what we have learned about the node manager. So all these features are controlled by certain parameters in the node manager, okay? And these are the parameters. Auto restart. So auto restart by default is true. So if auto restart is true, so your node manager will automatically restart a managed server which is crashed or killed due to any reasons. If you set this to false, sometime some of the clients want it to be false because they don't want to restart the managed server immediately. They wanted to do certain kind of analysis, and after that they want to bring it up. So in that case, you can set this auto restart parameter to false, and then the auto restart feature will be disabled. Auto kill if failed. So one feature what I said, your node manager automatically check the health of servers, right? And if it found any of the server is in failed state, it automatically kill it. And as soon as it is killed, your node manager will auto restart it, right? So to control this feature, if the server is in failed state, you want to kill it so that it automatically restart. You have a parameter auto killed if failed. If it is true, then your node manager will kill a server which is in failed state and will auto restart. If it is false, then even the server is in failed state, it will not be killed. And if it is not killed, it will not auto restart. Okay, then restart max and restart delay second. So these are two dependent parameters, restart delay second and restart max. So the feature what I have learned, if a server crashed, your node manager will automatically bring it up. It could be possible that there is a critical subsystem failure in the server. Your node manager will try to start it, but it will not come up, right? It also possible. So in that case, if the server node manager is trying to restart the server, but it is not coming up, so in that case, how many attempt node manager can make? So by default, it is 3. It is 3. So restart max is 3 means your node manager will attempt 3 times to start the managed server. If it will not come up in the 3 attempt, after that it will not try. Okay. Restart delay second means what is the time interval or gap between the different attempts when it is going to start. So this is the first attempt, server did not come up, then wait for some time. For example, if I give restart delay seconds 10 seconds, so after first attempt it will wait for 10 seconds, then it will go for the second attempt. Server didn't come up, again it will wait for 10 seconds, then it will go for the third attempt. Okay, like this one. So this is called the restart delay seconds. And there is one more parameter, something called restart interval. So that means restart interval means, for example, if I have given the 60-minute. So this feature where I am saying 3 attempt. So your node manager will try to restart 3 times. If it will not come up, then again your node manager will go silent after 3 attempts. Okay, so if you specify 60 minutes for the restart interval, so this 3 attempt will be in each 60 minutes. The first 60 minutes, it tried to restart 3 times, server did not come up, it will be silent for the 60 minutes. Then for the next hour, again it will try for 3 times, it didn't come up, then it will again for the next hour, it will try for the 3 times. So this is called the restart intervals. So these are certain important parameters in the node manager, and where we define that, it is not in the node manager properties. We have a separate file for that, which is called the startup.properties. a startup.properties file where we define these parameters. And what is the location of this file? Startup.properties. The location is inside your domain, servers. Inside server, we have a server for each and every server, right? For admin server or manage server. For example, we have a manage server 1. Inside manage server folder, we have a folder called data. Inside data, you will have a folder called node manager. Inside this folder, you will have the startup.properties. So this file will be separate for each and every server, right? If you have a 4 managed server, then for each and every managed server inside this directory, you will have the corresponding startup.properties file. How can a server be configured to auto restart in case of failure or overload? How is overload protection configured? So failure we have already seen, right? You have auto killed if failed. This is a parameter. If it is true, then your node manager will automatically kill a server which is in a failed state. Now, second is the overload state. Sometimes our server get overloaded. Okay, that means if the server is overloaded, then the client will not get the proper response from the server. The performance of the application will be degraded. Okay, so your server will continue try to process the request for a longer duration, but users will get some intermittent results. Application will not respond properly. So that means what is happening? Your server is running, but it is very slow, and it is continuously going on slow, 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 slow. Right. So in this situation, we can have a feature where we can kill this particular server. If the load is very high, this server is not responding, there is no meaning of running this server, right? We need to restart it immediately. So if your server is overloaded, then we have a feature where we can kill this server, and as soon as you kill this server, your node manager will auto restart it. Correct? So this feature we have in the WebLogic. So you can click on your server name, go to configurations, and then you can go to overlay tab. Inside the overload tab, you can see here panic action, failure actions. Okay, so here you can see panic action, exit that server process. So that means if you select this one, so in case your server is overloaded due to any reasons, okay, so your server will get exit, and as soon as it is exit, it will be auto restart by your node manager. So this is one of the important feature. So hope I have covered almost all the important questions that maybe you have in your mind or you may have faced in some interviews. And Node Manager is a very important utility. And then definitely in the interviews, you are going to get multiple questions with respect to the Node Manager.